The following is a CSPN Media podcast presentation.
Let me tell you about who deserves a shot at the United States heavyweight.
Let's hear it.
I'm the champion. I ought to know. You know, I've been sizing up guys since I came to WCW. And I think the one guy that stands out the most, the guy that I think has earned a title shot, El Dandy, I think you're a heck of a wrestler. You're a great technician in the ring, and you're a jam-up guy. I don't see any reason.
Wait a minute. El Dandy has been wrestling in the cruiserweight division here. Please.
He's a great wrestler.
He's a great wrestler, but my goodness sakes, it's 50 pounds.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Well, let's talk about some serious
How about hypnosis? Let's get thrown.
Psychosis?
Whatever. He's a great wrestler, you know.
Hello, and welcome to episode 251 of the WrassleCast. I'm your host, Don Delarente, and I'm joined by my co-host, my SmackDown Matters correspondent, Miss Didi Jonet.
Hey.
How's it going, friend?
Oh, it's going good. How are you?
I'm doing great, friend. I'm doing great. I hope all is well in your part of the woods.
Yeah, it's good.
The kids are arriving back on campus. How has that been?
Annually, I know that the year has started because I get phone calls from student accounts because my office number is one off from student accounts. And I get random people who come into my office thinking there's a class there because there's a library attached. And for whatever reason, when they say room 202, they don't ever mention library 202. They just say 202. And then I get random people who think there's a class in an office. You would think context clues for the future doctors of America would work a little better than that. Don't seem to. So.
They're freshmen. They're mostly young and dumb.
Oh, honey, it's a medical school. Most of them are 23, 24.
Oh, even worse, huh?
Yeah, they're not 18, 19.
Oh.
You know, no. They're adults. Stupid adults. Yes.
That's amazing. That makes me very intrigued about what you guys have going on in your doctor's program up there.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I guess.
Are you nice and polite to them?
I'm very nice to them because I don't need nobody saying I'm mean. Apparently, I am somebody who a certain section think I am the sweetest thing since sliced bread, and other people think I am horrible. So the last thing I need to do is let these little Caucasian doctors tell anybody that there's a mean little black lady on the second floor. No. How are you doing? Well, let me not lie. When they stand in the middle of the hallway, I do push them over. I do that. I do that. I used to say, excuse me, but I don't do that anymore. Because why are you standing in the middle? No, move. But other than that, I am very nice to them. I swear.
Bogarting people out of the way.
Listen, my elbows work real nice. And you can't do it with a stank look on your face, because then it means you were being an asshole. So you just kind of have to do it like, oh, you're in the way. Wow, how about that? Nobody ever says anything.
They just take mental notes.
Team passive aggressive. No confrontations over here.
The WrassleCast is a part of the CSPN. You can find us on the web at cspn.us. You can also subscribe to the WrassleCast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and YouTube. Ms. Dijonay, we have some news this week.
Okay.
My baby, NXT.
Mm-hmm.
She's all grown up. She's getting ready to leave the nest of the WWE network and go out into the big, vast world of USA. Starting on September 8th, the show will be moving to USA Network. It will go from 1 hour to 2 hours, and it will be serving as direct competition for AEW's primetime show that starts on October 2nd.
Mess.
I was hoping that this would not happen. I've been kind of fighting against this move coming about.
Mm-hmm.
It is rumored that currently Triple H will still be running the show. His team of people will still be running the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's very optimistic that that will continue, that Vince will not be able to meddle in this situation. The show will take place from Full Sail, and it will be live from Full Sail. In one notion, I'm very, very sad because I just don't. I'm afraid that the format of it's going to change, and they're not going to be able to do the way that they present it with the squash matches and the way they tell the long stories, and the way that they don't have everybody on there every week. Because, you know, it's only 1 hour, so you can't fit everybody in there. And it's cool that you don't see everybody.
Right.
But now they have that extra hour to fill, and it's live, and I just have a feeling that that's going to change.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, I feel like, okay, since we're on USA, the whole company just got elevated to, like, the main roster. So,
right, yeah.
Nobody has to leave NXT now. So just keep everybody there who's there. And just let them do their thing on USA. And instead of moving Velveteen Dream up to Raw or SmackDown, he's now one of the main players on NXT every week.
Yeah.
Or have interplay, since they're on the same network, between Raw and NXT, but do it in a way that you don't crush the NXT guys every time they do it, which I know Vince will have such a want to do. But if they do it, let the NXT guys get some things that matter and count, and kind of work them back and forth. But I don't know how this is going to work, how this is going to look. Remember a month ago, and I was like, hey, I think we're going to move the recordings to Wednesday. Yeah, that's no longer going to happen. They just put it used to be, oh yeah, you know what? If there's a day of wrestling that I could chill out and miss a night and just kind of give myself a break, it's Wednesday. NXT is only an hour. I can watch that at any point on Thursday before we record the show. That's not going to be the case anymore. So now I'm going to have not only a brand new show to watch in AEW, but an extra hour of the NXT that I usually watch as well. So this is going to be a very interesting fall starting in October.
Yeah, they trying to do a lot in the autumnal months, but that's all right.
Yes. But NXT moving to USA, it will be very interesting to see what comes about. Hopefully this means that NXT is, on a big time scale. They pay the guys some more money, and Ciampa comes back, and like you said, NXT becomes the number one brand, and nobody has to leave who's already established it.
Yeah, I don't like 2 hours. I don't like it. I don't trust it. I don't like it. But if Triple H is still in control, I would like to see it. That's all. Because I don't want to, I've had this conversation. I don't trust Vince. None of you should. So, as long as it stays Triple H, I have high hopes for them.
Yes. So good luck to NXT and all of those guys and gals that we have come to love so much and so dearly in the last year and a half of this crop of NXT. They're moving up to USA, and they're about to be in the big time. So hopefully they can continue to deliver the outstanding television and stories that have made them the best product that WWE produces week in and week out. Now to a production that they produce that's so every week in and week out. Monday Night Raw from St. Paul, Minnesota. Corey Graves, he's on vacation, so Jerry Lawler is replacing him on Monday Night Raw in the commentary chair tonight. We relived the various near-death experiences of Roman Reigns over the last few weeks. Roman is on his way to the ring. Once he gets there, Dolph Ziggler arrives, and he says he's not a keyboard warrior. He's glad that Roman is okay. He complains that Roman gets all the attention, while bad things are happening to him weekly. He said Goldberg speared him 3 times. He was like, I thought I had to wait 6 months between those. He said last week, Maurice's husband beat me with Ric Flair's move. And just last week, this wannabe Dolph Ziggler super kicked me on the ramp. Speaking of HBK, of course. So after the insults to the legends, Dolph super kicks Roman Reigns. So we have our match, Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler. Roman counters the Famouster, but gets posted, and the zigzag gets a 2 count. Reigns counters the super kick with the Superman punch for his own 2 count. Dolph then counters the spear with another Famouster for another 2 count. Dolph talks shit, and then he runs into a spear, and Roman Reigns gets the win. It was all good till Dolph was talking to shit. And then Roman capitalized. We get highlights of Sasha Banks returning and beating down Natalya and Becky Lynch last week. Then we get a Becky Lynch promo. Becky says, I want to fight the best. I want to fight everyone at their best, at their peak. And that is what Sasha Banks is right now. She said 4 months ago, Sasha ran away crying from WWE. Her career was cold as ice. Now, cut to last week, she's hotter than ever. Becky says, Sasha's the greatest woman on the roster to never be great.
Oh.
She said, the great ones don't have to be talked into things, but since Banks is back, Lynch will gladly send her home crying again. Becky with that hot fire.
Like it.
Yeah, she had kind of lost her fastball since Ronda hadn't been around, but all it took was Sasha to come back 1 week as the best version of herself, and bam, Becky's right back on point. It's the King's Court. Jerry Lawler is our host. He's supposed to interview Sasha Banks as his guest. Jerry the King Lawler is in the ring, and he's hyping King of the Ring. Tournament starts later on this evening on Monday Night Raw. And that's when the lights go out. They start to flicker. And Jerry Lawler's like, oh, I'm no dummy. I've seen this before. So Jerry, being the smart man that he is, jumps out of the ring, runs up the ramp, and he's like, yeah, I got this. You ain't going to make me a victim. And that's when the Fiend arrives behind Jerry Lawler on the ramp and applies the mandible claw to the King.
Okay. So which I say, smart of you to leave the ring. Why wouldn't you go somewhere where your back is against the wall, though? Like, you just had all the stage behind you. Like, think about it for a second. Oh, Jerry.
This was a scene right out of a scary movie.
Terrified. I still don't see it from Mr. Fiend. I don't like it.
I thought this was brilliant. Not only in the Fiend getting another victim, but the tease up of Sasha Banks. So everybody's watching it thinking one thing, and then you swerve them, but you give them something totally different, and in this instance probably a little bit better. And then an in-ring conversation between Sasha Banks and Jerry the King Lawler. You get the Fiend putting down Jerry Lawler, but Jerry Lawler being smart to the game in a sense. So that was a nice twist to it. We come back from commercial, and Vic Joseph has replaced Jerry the King Lawler on commentary. Now we have a tag team match. Ricochet and The Miz they faced off against Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. We get the hot tag to Ricochet, who runs wild on Corbin. Then he takes out Drew and then integrates Corbin and follows with the John Woo dropkick. The springboard clothesline follows, and the moonsault gets a 2 count. Drew cuts him off, and The Miz then cuts him off as it starts to break down. Corbin hits the deep 6 on Ricochet for a 2 count. He takes Ricochet up top, and Ricochet fires back. Ricochet hits the missile dropkick. Corbin gets posted, and the recoil by Ricochet finishes off Corbin, and the Ricochet and The Miz are your winners. Baron Corbin was back on the scene, y'all. I know y'all missed him. He wasn't in the main event, but he's going to be in the King of the Ring. This was a New Japan Pro Wrestling type setup, as they had the tag team match to set up the singles match to draw interest in the singles match that'll be upcoming. But Baron Corbin had some new attire. He had on a tank top instead of the server's outfit from Chili's. Fashion cast moment, Miss Dee Dee Janae.
I mean, anything's an improvement, really.
I don't know what Baron's been hiding with the long sleeves. He looked pretty buffed. He didn't look bad in the t-shirt, in the tank top. I guess when Dean Ambrose was in the company, you can only have one room for one guy looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's not there anymore, fair game.
I mean, it's not like there was one guy bald and there was one guy with bangs. Like, he could have had his shirt on too at the time, but let's live in the present. It's fine.
Sasha Banks is backstage, and it's announced that we will still hear from her later on Monday Night Raw. Booker T joins us this week via Skype. He comments on The Fiend attacking Jerry Lawler. He then comments on his own King of the Ring victory and how it was great for his career. And Booker picks Drew McIntyre to win this year's King of the Ring. AJ Styles was pissed about how last week's Monday Night Raw ended, and Braun Strowman coming down to save the day. So he has issued a challenge to Braun Strowman for the United States Championship. And now it's AJ Styles versus Braun Strowman for the United States title. The Good Brothers are out with AJ Styles, of course. Styles slaps Braun, but Braun dumps him and chases him to the floor. Back in, Braun is in control, attacking everyone until AJ Styles fires back. Braun swats AJ out of midair, and Gallows attacks Braun Strowman for the DQ. The OC beats down Braun until Seth Rollins makes the save. Seth and Braun clean house, and then they shake hands. Favor for a favor, man. Braun and Seth, they talk backstage. Seth knows that Braun wants a title shot. He's willing to give him a title shot. But first, they have to take care of the OC tonight, and he's going to try to get them a tag team title shot later tonight. Our first King of the Ring matchup, we see Samoa Joe versus Cesaro. They always like putting my two favorites against each other in these damn tournaments like this.
Does it make you happy or does it make you sad?
It makes me sad.
Okay.
Because I'd much rather see them like battle in like the semifinals or the finals. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Joe fights off a suplex. Both men collapse. Cesaro then finally hits the suplex for a 2 count. Joe fires back with chops, but Cesaro follows with an uppercut, and then he hits one on the floor. Back in, Cesaro hits the high cross body for a 2 count. Joe fights back and hits the Uranagi and a senton for his own 2 count. Cesaro hits uppercuts and then the giant swing into the sharpshooter, and then he transitions into the crossface. Joe escapes, he locks on the coquina clutch, and Cesaro ultimately taps, and Samoa Joe advances to the next round of the King of the Ring.
Joseph won something.
It's been a long time coming.
You know he only wins like on a quarterly basis, so.
This was his win for the summertime, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Next one coming to be back October, November. Yeah.
This was a really good match. These two guys match up really well, and they can do some things together.
Mm-hmm.
We get highlights of the recent 24/7 championship shenanigans between Elias and Drake Maverick. Drew McIntyre attacked Elias in the studio. That didn't work out too well for Drake Maverick, as he caught a Eazy-E type beatdown in the soundproof part of the studio. So Elias is out in the ring. He's going to give us his final live performance due to the fact that he will be going into hiding to protect his 24/7 championship. He's having mysterious audio issues. His guitar is also all messed up. That's when R-Truth, disguised as a sound technician, comes to the ring. He has a ref with him, of course, and he tries to win the title. But Elias keeps kicking out, and eventually Elias runs away. Elias bringing some logic and awareness to the 24/7 title,
which we have not had. But, leave it to Bay Elias to do it.
Rey Mysterio, he's in the back. He's in an interview with Charlie, please say the Caruso. He talks about his rough last few weeks. Rey says that he's a fortunate man with a beautiful family. He's had a great career, but things just haven't been clicking for him. He says Andrade disgraced him, ripped off his mask, and he hasn't been able to do anything about it. He says his body hasn't been responding how he'd like, and maybe his injuries have caught up to him. The time comes for everyone, but he didn't think it would come for him, and he needs to hang up his mask and let the new generation make their name. Dominic rushes in. He stops Rey from unmasking and says Rey promised that he would tag with him in his debut, and he still wants that. He says that he wants to make Rey proud and begs Rey not to retire. Rey says, "You know what, son? I'll stay for you." This was the heart-touching moment of the show. I know you did. You feel warm and fuzzy inside when Dominic came and saved the day?
No. Fuck out of here. Y'all so emotional. I just wanted to make sure that Dominic made sure that Rey kept that goddamn mask on. That's all I needed Dominic to do. God. He did what I needed, so that's fine.
Still hopeful that Samoa Joe can get back around to doing some harm to Dominic.
He's so hateful. Leave Dominic alone.
The New Day, they're going to wrestle the Revival. Xavier Woods begins to battle back, and he hits the honor roll, and the champions clear the ring. After a commercial break, Xavier Woods fights off Dawson and hits a missile dropkick. Big E and Dash tag in, with Big E running wild with suplexes, and the running splash follows. Dawson takes out Woods, and that's when Randy Orton flies in with an RKO on Big E for the disqualification. After the match, Kofi makes the save until he eats an RKO. Woods then fights him off until he runs into a Shatter Machine assisted RKO. Orton then makes Kofi watch as the Revival try and break Xavier Woods' leg. This was very NWA-ish. It quite didn't have the cage, but it's very reminiscent of a angle that Dusty Rhodes did once, where Ole Anderson and Dusty Rhodes were tag team partners. Dusty Rhodes and Ole Anderson didn't like each other, like forever. And then they became tag team partners, and they got in this cage match against Ivan Koloff and like somebody else. And so eventually they do the switch, and Ole Anderson turns on Dusty Rhodes, and they hold Dusty Rhodes down. And just like they had him held down there, the Revival had Woods held down, and Ole Anderson comes off the top rope with the leg drop and breaks Dusty Rhodes' leg. So for like 6 months, Dusty Rhodes is like out of action with a broken leg. And they almost had a riot because they had these people trying to come over the cage to help him, like fans. Yes. It's one of the all-time best angles ever in wrestling. But yeah, so this was kind of reminiscent to that. Randy Orton and the Revival, I gotta say, they kind of work pretty well together. It's not a bad little faction.
The Revival? Is it the Revival? Never mind. I was gonna make a KKK joke, but I won't do all that.
And poor Xavier Woods, man, always the dude that's catching the brunt of the beatings.
Yeah, poor baby.
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole.
We wish it was Adam Cole. Michael Cole.
Oh.
If Adam Cole interviewed Sasha Banks, that'd actually be highly entertaining. But Michael Cole interviewed Sasha Banks. Sasha says that this has been a crazy week. She says she looked in the mirror and she thought to herself, blue's her color. And so she now has new hair and everyone loves her new hair. She says she looks good and she feels even better. Then it said again, Michael Cole, for some reason goes, nobody cares about your hair, and ask her about the attacks from last week. He must be living in a bubble, because that's like what everybody was talking about was the blue hair. So Sasha's answer to Michael Cole about her attacks is, you're welcome, and then she gets up from her position and leaves. I thought this was perfect. It wasn't too long. Sasha said some quick sentences, got up out of there, leaves you wanting more. She didn't go into a long diatribe about anything. There's always time for that. You can tell we got new people in charge because they're trying to build shit like, instead of just boom, throwing everything out at one time. It's like, oh, here's a little here, here's a little there. Let's come back next week, see what we got for you. I like it. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, they defend their women's tag team championships against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Alexa tags in and Mandy cuts her off with the V trigger. Mandy tags Sonya and Nikki also gets the tag. Sonya runs while with strikes. She hits some knees and a sliding knee strike. Nikki then runs Mandy into the post and she hits the purge on Sonya Deville, and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss retain the women's tag team championships. Any thoughts on Fire and Desire, Mandy Rose, and according to Jade to the Max and Mo_Reese, future women's champion Sonya Deville's effort here in this match against the champions? I don't know. This was an okay match. Alexa Bliss is I guess because they're letting her do the Sparkle Splash now that she's going to be a babyface.
Who's a babyface?
Alexa Bliss.
How?
Because Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are heels.
I guess.
Okay, here's how you know she's kind of turning. Before, she always won all her matches with like the DDT or whatever. And every time she would go do the Sparkle Splash, she would either get cut off or she would just miss it. But now she's not even doing the DDT, and she's winning all her matches with the Sparkle Splash. So that's just.
Is it really called the Sparkle Splash?
Yes, that
is a very childish name. So maybe she is going to be like a face.
That was the original name of it. They call it the Twisted Bliss now.
Yeah.
But when she was in NXT, that was the original name of it, because her gimmick.
Sparkle Splash.
Yeah, because her gimmick was, she was all sparkly like a fairy.
Oh, like Tinkerbell.
Yeah,
she does give me Tinkerbell bitchy vibes, but not really a bad person, or like a bad person, but not to everybody. Like fuck Wendy, I like Peter, very bad. Yeah, I can see that.
In the backstage, Seth and Braun, they talk and argue about who should follow whose lead in tonight's tag team title match. Our next King of the Ring tournament match, we see Cedric Alexander facing up against Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn rounds things. Alexander fires up, but Sami hits to make a no-2 driver for a 2 count. Sami follows with strikes and keeps things grounded again. Alexander keeps fighting back. Cedric hits the back elbow and follows with the head scissors and the drop kick. The suicide dive follows from Cedric and back in. Cedric hits the back handspring kick and the lumbar check, and Cedric Alexander is your winner.
Yay.
This was a quick match, but a good match. Cedric Alexander getting the win. So that was good to see. And somewhere down the line, he'll probably have to face Drew McIntyre in this tournament, I'm guessing. And they can continue their storyline inside the tournament. That would be the smart way to book it, even though I don't have the brackets in front of me to confirm that. The Street Profits, they talk about their own King of the Ring brackets, and Dawkins is like, man, my bracket has already been busted. Dawkins also says that, hey, what about a tag team King of the Ring tournament? And that's when Montez Ford steps in and it's like, I got my crown. We are Red Kings. That was good. I liked it. Do you feel that this has been a good way to debut the Street Profits? They've gotten a little bit different introduction to the main roster than anybody else has gotten from NXT. It necessarily hasn't been vignettes. They've actually been a part of the show, even though they've not wrestled.
Yeah, just doing running commentary. I like it. To an extent, it's a little put on, but to an extent, it's also very funny. Montez just talking a whole bunch of shit, and the other one either being drunk, hungover, or disinterested, and then like trying to catch back up to the conversation. It's a cute way to like show off their personalities, and like you said, show off the other one, because Montez is kind of more effusive, but the other one, and I hate that I keep calling him the other one. I don't know his name.
Angelo Dawkins.
Dawkins. Because isn't there a Dawson?
Yes, there is a Dawson.
Yeah, that's why. So Dawkins, yeah, he's cute. I didn't realize he was cute. But seeing him in the backstage area and him having that time to shine and seeing all his various interactions with everybody else in the back, it's good for them. I like it.
I think that that's like the very first one. I was like, I don't like this at all. This isn't the Street Profits. But ever since after the first one, they've kind of found their stride with it, and it's been really good. The pay-per-view interactions with like Ric Flair and Kurt and some of the pre-show stuff has been pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad they're getting their shine, and everybody sees the same thing when they see Montez Ford. So it's only a matter of time for that young man. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing, keep working hard. He's going to be on the very top of this game. The Good Brothers, they complain about having to defend the tag team titles, but AJ Styles arrives to motivate them, pump them up, and says that they can do it. Natalya says that she came back from the doctor, and it's been an emotional week. She says that Sasha was her friend, and she can't understand why she did what she did to her. She's about to start her next sentence when Sasha Banks attacks Natty out of the blue again. She assaults Natty's injured arm. She calls her a crybaby. Then she tells Natty to go to hell and tell your daddy I said hi.
Oh, hurtful.
Damn.
Hateful. That's what I look for.
The attack was something like I wasn't expecting it at all. I was kind of actually zeroing in on what Natty had to say. She kind of drew me in because I thought she was going to tell us what her injury was. And then bam, here comes Sasha like, okay, this what we doing? All right, I'm with it. Main event of the evening time, the Good Brothers versus Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Now, hold AJ Styles trying to... Oh, Gallows from behind! Styles. Oh, the veteran. And now Gallows follows up and just took Strowman off his feet. Braun Strowman's been neutralized, and now it's 2-on-1. It's Seth Rollins' super kick. Trying to rally tag. But look, there's no one for Rollins to tag. Sling blade! Seth Rollins continuing to fight into Anderson. Now into Gallows.
Seth is all on his own, but he's putting in the work to take out Anderson and Gallows.
Gallows stopping Rollins in his tracks. Rollins continuing to fight, able to outsmart Gallows for the moment. Then Rollins right into Gallows.
Gutsy move.
Universal Champion looking to put more gold around his waist. Wow, what a Falcon Arrow. Connects into the cover for the tag team titles.
Oh.
Anderson able to kick out.
How the hell is Rollins doing this?
Well, Strowman's the one taking control now.
Great train let loose.
Yeah, he's running over people. The monster's back with a vengeance.
That's how quick the monster among men can change the complexion of a matchup. Is Rollins able to slither free. Rollins rolls through. Tags made. In comes Strowman. And here comes Braun.
The complexion of this match just changed.
Time to get these hands, boys.
Strowman now. He's been waiting patiently to take out Anderson. With the Gallows. He gets some too.
Turn Gallows inside out, my God.
Like a runaway train. Hit Gallows now. Taking care of Anderson. Power slam center of the ring. Titles are on the line. Titles are on the line. We have new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Here we go, winners. And the new Raw Tag Team Champions, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman.
The unlikeliest of duos have come together, and we have new tag team champions in the form of Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman.
As if business couldn't pick up even more for Seth Rollins. Jeez.
That was one of the most amazing closing sequences of a matchup that I can remember. Strowman and Rollins dominated, and now Rollins, to your point, Renee, is a dual champion. He's the Universal Champion. He's also the Raw Tag Team Champion. And they're on their feet here tonight in the Twin Cities.
But Braun Strowman came in tonight, guys, thinking that he could walk out the United States champion. Instead, he's walking out the tag team champion. What a night it has been for Braun Strowman. I can't believe my eyes.
Hey.
So Braun Strowman had 2 championship matches in the same show. Got screwed over in one. Got some redemption in the other one. Miss Didi Jonay.
Mm-hmm.
He went from looking at Maria crazy like a month ago to now tag team champion, and he keeps looking at that Universal Championship crazy because after the match, as the new champion celebrated, they had the tag team titles in their outside hands, and then they had the Universal title held up in the middle of the two, and Bryan kept peering over at the Universal Championship like it was a hot young lady on Seth Rollins' arm. He just couldn't keep his eyes off her. So do you like this typical setup we've seen from WWE forever? You know, 2 guys who are kind of friends, but maybe a little enemies to get together, somehow become tag team champions, and then inevitably somehow it all falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great.
I like that they're giving Braun Strowman something to do. He needs to be in the mix. I mean, it seems like he should have been the heavyweight champion at least once by now, even if they just wanted to test it out. But it never happened, and now maybe this will be the time that they decide to pull the trigger, but who knows?
Yeah, he deserves. So I'll be happy for anything he gets.
How was your assessment of this Monday Night Raw? What would be your rating out of 5?
I'm going to give it a 4. Braun got a title. Sasha was evil. You know, what more could I ask for?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I thought it was good as well. I really like the Sasha Banks stuff. I like the way that they swerved the original Sasha Banks King's Court into the Fiend attacking and making that very logical with Jerry Lawler getting out of the ring. I like the setup to bring Baron Corbin back with Drew McIntyre in that tag team match. That was a good way to kind of get the people, to see Baron and not really totally just crush him, because I think people like Drew McIntyre, even though he's supposed to be a real nasty heel. I think people really respect his wrestling and like what he's doing. And Samoa Joe winning in the King of the Ring, that was definitely a highlight, because we know that don't happen a lot around here lately. So I'll definitely take it. And this RKO to Kofi and the New Day, that's very, very disheartening. I'm very, very worried about this next matchup. Hopefully it's like a 6-man tag team match though, and not a title match. Hopefully they kind of throw in a little bit of a wrench into it. But we'll find out about that and more as I turn it over to Miss Didi Jonay for her SmackDown Matters Report.
Hey, so Smacky Downy. We were somewhere, I don't know. Randy Orton comes out. He says, unlike Kofi, he doesn't lie. He speaks the truth. Kofi ran from him at SummerSlam in front of his wife and kids. That's rude. He says Kofi is stupid. He RKO'd him and took out Woods on Raw. Kofi continues to fail to prove himself, and the power of positivity can be crushed by an RKO. To which I say, who are you that anybody got to prove anything to you? Who do you think you are, Ice? Fuck out of here. That's just me, though. New Day's music hits, and Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise out of nowhere. Kofi says, we'll find out who is stupid. Gets a chair and looks to Pillmanize Randy Orton's leg. But what happened? The Revival arrives to make the save. Orton retreats as Kofi beats up the Revival with chair shots. What an icon.
Yeah, Kofi came from the blind side. He had to match Randy Orton's dastardly deeds this week.
Yes. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, he wasn't throwing no... It's like, there ain't no pancakes this week, B. Straight up chair shots and ass whooping. That's all I got for you.
That's what we like. Shane meets with Kevin Owens backstage and threatens a bigger fine if Kevin gets out of line tonight. Owens says he was pissed last week, but thought about things and realizes that $100,000 is a lot to him, and they should be able to relate as they are both fathers. He asks Shane to reconsider, and Shane says he will reconsider it. We'll see what that leads us to. Next, Andrade versus Apollo Crews for a King of the Ring tournament match. Crews hits an enziguri. Andrade attacks Crews' arm, but misses the double knees. Andrade fires back with a super kick. They trade, and Crews hits the standing shooting star press for 2. Andrade retreats to the ropes. Vega distracts Crews, and Andrade hits the back elbow and hammerlock DDT for the win. Make sure you take your drink.
Pull up, drink.
Yes, the distraction game never ends. Bryan and Rowan walk with a hooded man who is allegedly the attacker of Roman Reigns. Bryan tells him to stay put. I can't wait till we get to the end because I have so many questions and I want answers. Elias walks in and strums on his guitar. He finds a referee in disguise and then finds Drake hiding and makes him read a letter stating that the 24/7 rules are suspended for the night by order of Shane, and then Elias locks him in a box.
He's just got something at every turn.
Who's better than Elias? Nobody. Nobody. What a blast. Okay, so there's a moment of bliss. Nikki is out with Alexa, and they are humbled by their title reign. A moment of bliss will carry on for the unfortunate matches without championships. What? Charlotte is
hold on. Did you see this?
I thought I saw it because I know what happens in a few minutes, but I must have missed that part.
And then they posed like Edge and Christian. They did like a title pose for like 10 seconds.
Adorable. Oh, that's adorable. I could kind of see them being the next Edge and... Oh, that's funny. Okay, anyway. Charlotte points to the throne and says that chair, the one from the King of the Ring visual, is more her style. Bliss brings up Charlotte's win over Trish, and Charlotte says that she took the torch from Trish. Charlotte is the queen of all eras and face of the SmackDown Women's division. Bliss says, some would say, that Bayley is the face of the division. Charlotte says no, because she is the brand and more marketable. She is SmackDown. Wait, what? First AJ, now you? Hold up. Calm down. She calls Bayley an afterthought, just like the championship and the division. Well, Bayley arrives and says, enough of Charlotte's same old shit, because it's just a bunch of excuses. Bayley's the champion, which means she's better than Charlotte. Charlotte says people always talk about her and not Bayley. She will win the title at Clash of Champions, and Bayley accepts the challenge and will shut her up. And then she shoves the shit out of Charlotte.
Shoves her off the chair.
She falls into the other chair, and she looks like, oh no. She looked like ain't nobody had ever touched her before. She was shook.
I really like the edge from Bayley.
I think that's the thing about nice people. When they finally start acting up, people don't know how to act. And they're like, oh, wait, you really pushed me off the chair unprovoked? Like, never forget, she's still Sasha's best friend. Gotta have a little bit of hate up in her heart.
Do you like the vehicle of them using the moment of bliss for the predominantly the women's storylines?
I think that's nice. Sure. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it goes. I might get tired of it, but I might not. I want to make sure that there are women's tag matches. I don't need them doing what the Australian girls did, which is like never defend their title. But if they defend their title and mix in some moments of bliss, I guess that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I ain't mad about it. Buddy Murphy prepares backstage and meets with Roman Reigns. Buddy says he's pretty sure he saw Rowan do it. And Reigns says if Buddy's lying, he'll whip his ass. Spoiler alert, Buddy ain't lying. Bryan confronts Buddy about saying Rowan did it and calls him a cowardly liar. He will reveal the true culprit and that Buddy had something to do with it. But listen, unless Buddy Murphy knows how to make clones, no, he don't. Anyway.
Buddy Murphy, man. A lot of people want a piece of his ass. Damn.
We'll get there. So, Danny Bryan and Buddy Murphy have a match.
Oh! Come on, Buddy Murphy's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He had an incredible performance against Roman Reigns, and then he tweeted out, "Oh, everybody knows my name." I question that. Oh, look at Murphy.
Buddy taking it to Daniel Bryan, but I question that, Dave, because Buddy Murphy's got himself incredible opportunities in back-to-back weeks here, but
Murphy sends Bryan to the outside.
What kind of repercussions will Buddy face if he is lying?
Murphy over the top, and he takes down Daniel Bryan. I don't know, fame, money, and Murphy put away Bryan tonight.
Murphy, almost defiant, still.
Stay down! Oh, now Bryan gonna be lights out for Murphy. Ducked it. Oh, what a counter. Great job by Murphy, the gifted striker. Oh, no, wait a minute. Now caught on the top turnbuckle here by Daniel Bryan.
Murphy caught that tree of woes. Bryan strikes at will.
And now Bryan. Buddy Murphy's defenseless here. Oh, and a low drop kick right to the face.
And Bryan just left his carbon footprint on Buddy's face.
This is the nastiness of Daniel Bryan.
The look on the face of Buddy Murphy. Murphy is out.
And now a second time outpowering Murphy, planting him on the top turnbuckle.
High risk here from Daniel Bryan. Maybe looking for a belly to back on the top rope.
Oh my God, off the top. Bryan! Belly to back superplex. Now Bryan to put away this matchup, and Murphy kicks out at 2.5. Brainbuster.
Murphy may pull it off here.
Murphy to put away Daniel Bryan. Oh, Bryan fell on the ropes. Rowan quick to point it out as well to the official.
With better ring positioning, Murphy would have had him. Oh, Buddy Murphy's beat up, a little frustrated, but you cannot let up now. Come on, ref. Get Rowan off the apron.
Well, remember the claim Buddy Murphy made? It was saying that Eric Rowan was the man behind the attacks on Roman Reigns. On out Daniel Bryan trying to capitalize off the distraction. All broken up. Oh, super kick to Rowan. And now Bryan, cover. Oh, kick out by Murphy.
Rowan out of the equation now. The opportunity is for the taking.
What a knee.
Murphy may be on the verge of the biggest win of his career.
Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law. He beat Daniel Bryan. Here is your winner, Buddy Murphy. The biggest win of Buddy Murphy's career.
Buddy Murphy won. What? Buddy Murphy won.
Daniel Bryan will let him win, but Roman Reigns won't.
Roman was like, fuck you, man. I like it. He was like, I just came back from cancer. You ain't beating me on shit. Fuck out of here. That's probably not what he said, but it's funny to think that he did. Backstage, Rowan and Bryan lay out Buddy as Bryan calls him a liar and a coward. The Revival mocked the crowd for cheering their beatdown earlier in the night and then called New Day cowards. They tell Woods to heal up for Clash of Champions and challenge New Day for a tag title match at the pay-per-view. And then Heavy Machinery arrived because, they're tag teams also. And also they have a match. So, Dawson tags in and, Jesus, I wish this screen would stop turning. Misses the top rope elbow drop. Tucker, who's Tucker?
Tucker
Fat
Knight
the
for
other one.
the other one.
Tucker fights them off because Otis is the fat one. Tags in Otis, who runs wild on the Revival. The spinning slam and corner splash follows. Otis hits the caterpillar. He loves the caterpillar. And tags in Tucker. Dawson attacks, and Dash gets the cradle for the win. He cradled Tucker. I saw this. Yes, I'm correct. Chad Gable is on backstage area, commenting on being an underdog, and Shelton sneaks around behind him. He puts a "You must be this child to enter King of the Ring" sign on his door. And it was up high. It was very disrespectful.
It was hilarious.
It wasn't nice. That was me.
Oh, that's going to be a hell of a match, though.
Oh, yeah. Good wrestlers. Wrestler in the wrestling. So next is Miz TV. Sami Zayn as a guest. He requested this time. He arrives and says he doesn't care about Miz or his show, but he needed the time to get things off of his chest. Miz mocks him for being a loser. Sami agrees. Sami says he's been trapped in the WWE trap of greed and ambition. He succeeded by fighting for bigger causes and will succeed by helping others. The man he will help is Shinsuke Nakamura, my other fave. Bless him. Always happy to see him. He arrives. Miz is curious about this. Sami says Nakamura is Japanese. Fact. An artist. Also a fact. And is in pain as he can't properly answer at times. Remember when Nakamura didn't, I don't speak English, or whatever he used to say?
Right.
Fave. What an icon. He and Nakamura have a bond, and he will be Nakamura's mouthpiece. Nakamura then attacks Miz and lays him out with a Kinshasa and some more knee strikes. Another Kinshasa follows as Sami and Nakamura stand tall. Boom. Iconic. Why didn't I think of this earlier? All my faves winning.
They give you things you didn't need it all the time on this show.
Didn't even know that's what I wanted, but I have it and I'm happy. What a blessing. Won't he do it? It's like, what more could you ask for? Okay, so Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan arrive with their Mysterio Man, and they tell him Roman is coming. They still have him covered with some sheets, so he looks like, I don't know, like the Grim Reaper or some shit. It's interesting. Shane meets with Owens and tells him that you cannot touch WWE officials, and he wants an apology. Shane has reconsidered his fine, but if Owens ever touches another official, he will be fired. And Owens agrees. You know this is schmockery because, the official that he touched was Elias. So it's like, come on. But anyway, that's fine. Kevin and Elias have a match. They work up to the top rope. Kevin fights Elias off and knocks him to the mat. The Swanton eats knees. Kevin dumps Elias to the floor and follows with an apron cannonball. Shane stops the attack and reveals a ref shirt. So he's an official now. You see the scam. Yes, you do. Back in, and Elias attacks. They tease a ref bum, and Shane fast counts Kevin. So Elias wins.
That tricky Shane McMahon.
Scammer's gonna scam. So, your main attraction of the night. Who hit Roman Reigns? They're with the mystery man. They bring Roman into the room. They take the hood off. And I am looking at Eric Rowan's dad or uncle. I think. But instead of getting words and explanations, we just get cameras looking at Roman, looking at the man, looking at Eric, looking at Bryan. And honestly, that man has to be related to Eric Rowan. Like, you can't make people look that much alike and they're not blood related, right? Like, that has to be like a cousin. Or like they did some work in a clone lab or some shit. Like, they look exactly alike.
He, like Bayley, might have a twin.
Does Bayley have a twin?
Bayley has a twin.
Stop it.
Yes.
Are they identical?
I don't think they're identical, but she looks like Bayley. Bayley looks like her.
Oh, that's so cool. Listen, that man could certainly be Eric Rowan's twin. Shit was weird.
Yes, this was quite a Scooby-Doo-esque ending to SmackDown.
Yeah, I want answers.
Well, again, another program that's giving you small building blocks and bringing you just enough of the story to hook you back in for the next week. So now we got a new layer. Who is this mystery man? Why is he attacking Roman? Who is he affiliated with?
Listen. I Googled Bayley and her twin, and I think I found a picture of her. She looks just like Bayley, but she has her boobs out. So I don't know if this is a real website or if this is like The Onion, but for wrestling. But they're saying Asuka is actually played by two people, so she's an identical twin.
Oh, gosh.
They said Braun Strowman. Oh, no, this is funny. Okay, it's not real. They said Braun Strowman is sometimes portrayed by his twin brother, Brain Strowman. They said Buddy Murphy is sometimes portrayed by his twin brother, Kurt Hawkins. Which, yeah. That's funny. Okay. I thought it was real. It's not real. They had me going for a second. I could believe it. Identical twins means less work on the body. I like it. Only have to work half the schedule.
That's why the Usos should have. That's what they should have been doing when they really couldn't. When you really couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah, they used to be super identical.
Now, not so much. Even I remember when we first started this podcast. Can you believe it's almost been 5 years ago? In October, it'll be 5 years.
Damn, we definitely used to name that Uso.
Yes.
And certainly got that shit wrong a good half the time.
Like, I think that's Jay. I think that's Jimmy. No, that's Jay. No, I'm pretty sure that's Jimmy.
Like, nobody in agreement. Be like, what's one of them? Who knows?
You're right. The one that's married to Naomi. That's the one. That's the one. That's always the determining factor between the two of them. Your thoughts on SmackDown, the ending excluded. I know that you're not a big fan of this cliffhanger.
I don't like cliffhangers. And had you, all I needed was who the fuck is that? You know, like when did you get a twin? Like I need something. I don't want to just see people stuck in silence. That's that telenovela bullshit. No.
Rating?
Oh, 4 stars.
Yeah. Me too. I thought this was a really strong episode of SmackDown, starting with the attack on Randy from Kofi, all the way through to the big reveal of Roman having to look at 2 Eric Rowans and trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Right.
And the King of the Ring matches were good. So I didn't have any problems with this week's SmackDown. The house that Didi Jonay built, still strong as ever.
Oh, thank you. We try.
Please support the CSPN and the WrassleCast by supporting our sponsors over on CSPN.us. You can also keep the podcast free by shopping with Amazon, Busted Tees, Blue Apron, Audible. All of those great companies are affiliated with the CSPN and the WrassleCast. So if you go through the website, CSPN.us, and find something from any of those great providers, you will be helping keep the podcast free each and every week. So please do your shopping through CSPN.us and do it today. Time for NXT, the Undisputed Era, as they arrive to kick off the show. Now it's time to talk about Adam Cole, baby. He says that he did everything that he said he was going to do at TakeOver. Some say he had the performance of a lifetime. He said that he's the greatest NXT champion that ever lived. He's better than Samoa Joe, better than Finn Balor, better than Nakamura, better than Johnny Gargano. He says if NXT had a Mount Rushmore for its champions, it would have 4 faces of Adam Cole on it. Roddy says that their championship prophecy didn't come true because they were screwed. Roddy says Dream beat Pete Dunne, not him, but he's coming for Velveteen Dream and that North American Championship. Kyle O'Reilly then shows footage of the Street Profits pinning the wrong man at TakeOver as Fish legally tagged in. Bobby Fish said they never lost due to that and calls Regal out to do his job. Adam Cole says the Undisputed Era, draped in gold, is the best for NXT and knows it's only a matter of time until his boys get their gold. As they walk out up the ramp, that's when Jordan Miles arrives. Adam Cole says, this must be a joke. He says he knows he has a championship opportunity, but he says that he will break him. Adam Cole tells Jordan Miles to go challenge Shayna Baszler or go to NXT UK or 205 Live to cash in. Adam Cole says there's nothing more damaging than to challenge him and lose so young in his career, because Adam Cole will make his career an undisputed failure. Jordan Miles signs the contract and then he drops it at the feet of Adam Cole. Jordan Miles came out looking like them people who walk around your neighborhood on Saturdays with those little pamphlets.
The people,
yeah, those people that you see coming from the grocery store, and you try to like get in behind their back, and then when they ring your doorbell, you try to remember that they out there, so you don't go open the door. Yeah.
My brother used to open the door and be like, "Oh, Deanna, the door's for you." Then I got to talk to him. Like, oh, yeah. Sure, we'll take them little pamphlets too, throw them right in the trash. But I took them. I read them in the time it took for me to get to the trash can.
So they set up everything that's going to go forward as far as the tag team championship matches and the North American title. Adam Cole is going to have a mini program here with Jordan Miles, so they accomplished a lot in the opening segment. I'm just not a fan of this Jordan Miles at all. Ugh.
No.
I like ACH so much better. But anyway. Bronson Reed, he wants an opportunity as Shane Thorne arrives and they set up a match for later tonight. Bronson Reed was a member of the NXT Breakout Tournament, and Shane Thorne has a vendetta against all those guys who were in the tournament, so Bronson Reed is just his latest person to try to get even with. Damian Priest faced off against Mansoor. Mansoor counters a chokeslam and hits an enziguri. Mansoor dumps Priest and follows with the tope. The blockbuster follows. Priest cuts him off with a huge lariat, and the Splash Mountain follows. And he follows that up with the Reckoning, and Damian Priest gets the win. Mansoor is a really good wrestler. He won the big battle royal they had at the last Saudi show. So they've got some promise and they see something in him. They just need to let him have a couple of standout matches where he wins and not just job to somebody in a good loss for him to hit the springboard. And Damian Priest is doing okay. He hasn't had anything break out yet. That match against Keith Lee is kind of the closest thing he's had to that. But they didn't get a series of matches, so we really haven't had a chance to see him for a couple of stretches against the same opponent and see what he can really do. Mia Yim faced off against Vanessa Bourne. Aaliyah trips Mia Yim up, allowing Vanessa Bourne to hit a Samoan drop for a 2 count. Vanessa lays the boots to Mia Yim. She ties her up in the ropes. She has one of those stickers that says "lore" because that's what they call their people who they think are beneath them. And she slapped it on Mia Yim's ass and was like whipping her ass. So Vanessa, she's still slapping Mia around. She's talking shit, but Mia fires back and tackles her for some ground and pound work. Mia follows with chops and then tosses Bourne across the ring. The cannonball is followed by the protect your neck, and Mia gets the win. That's when Shayna Baszler comes down, and she says that Mia is a badass. Shayna says that Mia fought her like no one else has so far, and she saw it in her eyes that she's been to dark places and crawled out. Shayna says they don't have to be enemies. She says Mia can stand side by side with her, Jessamine Duke, and Marina Shafir. But Mia notices that they're starting to kind of close in on her. So she attacks Duke and Shafir, but the ladies swarm her. Shayna Baszler follows with ground and pound as the numbers game is just too much. And Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke, and Shayna Baszler stand tall over Mia Yim.
Bro.
Yeah, they got some get back from the beatdowns before TakeOver. Next week, we get a match that's been highly anticipated by this guy, your host of the WrassleCast, Don De Laurenti, as I'm finally going to get my match. Donovan Dijakovic versus Keith Lee. They showed a really good video package showing their matches that they've had outside of WWE. Talked about the story of how they were in the midst of something and then they had injuries and it derailed them. But now that both men are back and they're looking to make a significant jump in their NXT careers, and each man thinks that the other is going to be that stepping stone, that springboard to bigger and better things in NXT. This was really well done. I'm so glad Triple H came back to this once both of these guys are healthy, and hopefully they live up to my expectations for it. Shane Thorne faces off against Bronson Reed. The cool thing about this is both of these guys are Australian. Bronson Reed fights off the Sasaito suplex and then hits power slam. He follows with rights and elbows as the Samoan drop connects. The big boy senton follows, and then we get a corner splash. Thorne rolls to the outside. Bronson Reed follows and rolls Thorne back in. Bronson Reed heads up top and he gets cut off, and then we get a running kick from Shane Thorne, and Shane Thorne is your winner. Velveteen Dream, he arrives. He's getting pushed out by the lovely ladies on his sofa. The Dream says, he holds up his shirt. He says, the Dream shirt, $30. He holds up his shades and says, the Dream shades, $10. Then he said, retaining his North American Championship at TakeOver, priceless. He says, 1 man, 2 men, it doesn't matter as long as he ends up on top where he likes it. He says that now, after his tough talk at the beginning of the show, the spotlight is now on Roderick Strong. Velveteen Dream is the best. Him and this couch is just amazing. We need to have somebody come out and do the Rick James to it, though. Like he comes out, they push him out to the stage. He gets off the couch, comes down to the ring, cuts his promo. Whoever he's talking about comes out to the ring, and then they just, they get into a little bit of an exchange, and the dude looks over at his couch and starts just jumping in his couch and fucking his couch up.
Y'all love that good fuck your couch moment, I swear.
Hey man, the Chappelle Show has some very great moments that can be used in many various situations. Desmond Howard just had to, he's a football guy, college football analyst, and he's a Michigan player, former Michigan player, and their big rival is Ohio State. And so the host goes, hey, Desmond, is Michigan gonna, muster up enough to beat Ohio State this year? And Desmond Howard on live TV from Disney at like 11 o'clock in the morning goes, is Desmond Howard going to have to choke a bitch? And so, yeah, his Twitter and his social media has been in a disaster ever since. And he was like, hey, I didn't know that joke was so obscure. But anyway. So that's another piece of free booking I just gave WWE. We'll see if it happens or not.
You mean when it happens? You're welcome.
It's official. Adam Cole will defend against Jordan Miles in 2 weeks. And next week, the Street Profits will defend the NXT Tag Team titles in a rematch against the Undisputed Era. Main event time. Killian Dane faces off against Matt Riddle. Dane hits the John Woo drop kick and a cannonball for a 2 count. Riddle then counters and he hits the senton into a rear naked choke. Killian Dane fights to his feet. Matt Riddle hits the bro to sleep, the powerbomb, and the knee strike for a near fall. The floating bro eats the knees. Killian Dane posts Matt Riddle and tosses Riddle to the floor. Dane misses a charge and crashes into the steps. Riddle sets up the steps and teases a powerbomb, but Dane slams him face first onto the steps. We get the senton onto the steps by Killian Dane. Back in the ring, Dane hits 3 Vader bombs, and Killian Dane gets the win over Matt Riddle.
Gasp.
This was good. This was hard hitting. Great way to get Killian Dane a win over Riddle to continue the story. Riddle putting up the babyface effort, but falling just short because Killian Dane used the outside plunder of the steps to kind of gain the advantage and get the win. I like the steps, the story that they're telling here between these two guys, and I can't wait to see how it eventually ends up. I thought this was a really good episode of NXT. Really enjoyed it. So if you guys have some extra time, your network isn't acting up, you should go back and watch it. Check it out. Main event, definitely worth watching. All right, so Miss Didi Jonay, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you for your shout-outs and thank yous.
Oh, shout out to me. JK. Shout out to you for working with me on my terrible schedule and my terrible sleepiness. It was awful. But you worked with me because you're an icon. Shout out to the ladies of Glow, filling my timeline and my messages with all sorts of shenanigans. Shout out to my baby. His birthday is in a few days. He'll be 11. Awful child. I have to make sure he doesn't like John Cena anymore. And yeah, that's it.
I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Didi Jonay. Thank you for joining me. We will always make it work out. No matter rain, sleet, hail, snow, sickness, or allergies, we will find a way to bring you the WrassleCast. Shout out to Greg and Sam as well. Shout out to Classic. Shout out to all the members and ladies of the Glow. Thank you all for joining us and listening each and every week. Thank you to all the fans, all the people who show up in the live tweets each and every week. Please remember to share your commentary with color on Monday nights and Tuesday nights by using the hashtag WrassCast and SmackDown Matters respectively. Please subscribe to The Dark Match. You can follow us over there on our Patreon page. That's at patreon.com/CSPN Media. Become a CSPN Backstage Pass holder and get each and every episode of The Dark Match each and every week. Always some good conversations, good topics over there. And it's also going to be the home of our AEW coverage starting in October. I'm thinking about doing a retro cast for Clash of Champions. I'm pretty sure that most of our fans haven't seen the original Clash of Champions, so I'm thinking about that being what we watch on the 14th. That's the Saturday night before this year's Clash of Champions in September. We'll probably do the Retrocast of Champions as the hashtag. And you guys can watch some good old NWA wrestling from 1987. I think this is when this event took place originally. It was originally developed as counter programming for WrestleMania. Because the year before, this was in 88, because in 87, when Jim Crockett was trying to get on pay-per-view for the first time, that's when Vince came up with the Royal Rumble and put it on TV for free.
Scammers.
Yep. So the next year, this is what Jim Crockett Promotions answered with, was the Clash of Champions to go up against WrestleMania. So that would be a fun look back into how wrestling was in 1988, stuff that made me a huge fan when I was a kid. So please continue to, like I said, share your commentary with color, rate, review, interact with the WrassleCast through Twitter. You can also send us emails at coldslitherpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll, read those, respond to those, take suggestions for shows or ideas for, retrocast and things like that. So please interact with us. We would greatly appreciate it. And on that note, for my SmackDown Matters correspondent, Miss Didi Jonay, I'm your host, Don Delarente. This has been episode 251 of the WrassleCast. Please stay tuned for the parting promo.
Miz, let me just be honest with you right off the bat. I don't really care about you, and I don't really care about this show, but I needed TV time because I have some things that I need to get off my chest.
Oh, wow, you don't care about that. Well, you've been doing a lot of losing lately. I imagine you've had a lot of time to think while lying on your back staring up at the lights.
That's good. But you know what? Hey, actually, Miz, you know what? For once in your life, you're actually right. I have been losing match after match for months now, and last night I had an epiphany. And I finally realized why. It's because I've gotten caught up in the trap that people like you often end up.
Like me.
Yes, people like you, people like all these parasites here. It is the WWE trap of greed, of selfishness, of ambition. And I realize that any success I've ever had in my life has been because I have fought for something bigger than myself. I have fought for causes. I have fought for what is right. And I finally realized that the path to redemption for Sami Zayn is through altruism. It's through helping other people. And yes, I may be one of the greatest competitors alive today. But there are so many people on SmackDown that need my help.
Like who?
Well, it's funny you ask, Miz, because one of them is ready to come out right now.
Okay, I'll bite. Shinsuke, you're the Intercontinental Champion. Why would you ever need to associate yourself with Sami Zayn?
All right, there's boo-boo number one right there. Okay, so you ask him that question. Let me ask you this, Miz. What language do you expect him to answer you in, huh? English? English so that it could benefit you? I don't know if you've noticed, Shinsuke Nakamura is Japanese. And he is an artist. He is a poet. Do you understand the pain that is experienced by a poet when he can't articulate what is in his heart, what is in his soul? Of course you don't understand that. But I do, because I am an artist and I am a poet. And Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn have a bond that no one will ever understand from the day that Shinsuke Nakamura set foot in WWE. We understand each other. We are two sides of the same coin. So from here on out, this man does not need to experience that pain from not being able to properly articulate and express what is in his heart. So if you want to talk to Shinsuke Nakamura, you talk to me.
Okay. Shin, you're really going to let him speak for you? Really?
Yeah, you don't really get it, do you, huh? Well, we can express ourselves in a language that even you can understand, okay? Oh!